My Hero Academia. This is My Hero Academia, chapter 348, Unrequited. Last we left off, Deku was...
Unrequited.
Oh, Unrequited? Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
I thought it was Unrequited love. Like unrequited. I
mean, you could be right. I mean, you were the English major.
I'm not an English major.
I know, but you closer than I was. I mean,
maybe.
Shit, yours had writing involved.
This is true.
Specifically.
I could be wrong. I don't know. Comment what you think. Is it unrequited or unrequited? But anyway, last we left off, Toga has confessed her love to Deku and asked him to be her boyfriend. And we pick up at that point. He's in the midst of battle, by the way. Like, they're in the middle of the final war, basically, of the series. She's out here asking for Deku's hand in boyfriendhood.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And we open up with a big narration about how Midoriya is the ninth wielder of One For All, and he was the key to the particular battle. He had encountered Himiko Toga a number of times by this point, but since she had never come right out and expressed her affection in words, he'd never realized the way that she felt about him. Because for all his triumphs, he was still just a damn nerd. And Deku is just like, what are you talking about? And Toga continues on where she's just like, I loved you since the moment I first saw you. You're so cool, Deku. I want to be you. Let me suck your blood. Hey, yo.
She said some.
Some.
He's like some blood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right? Just some. Not all of it.
Yeah. Deku's just like, boyfriend? You mean like a guy to take you on an amusement park for a date who holds hands with you? Ochako gets a little bit shook right there. It's like, that's my man. That's my man.
You forgot the most important line. Who you split a crepe with?
Yeah, this is...
I ain't splitting no fucking crepe. I mean, that whole thing.
I wouldn't have been disappointed. I wouldn't have been disappointed if the rest of this whole chapter was just Deku describing a boyfriend. Ochako.
You like different shit Ochako, you do?
Yeah, just... somebody who buys you gifts? You go on a date with?
Someone who goes to the movies with you or watches JJK number 0?
Somebody who you take to the movies with?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, basically Deku is flustered and so is Ochako. And she's like, for me, turning into someone else is all about love. It's the only way I can feel satisfied. And
the only way.
The only way. And she basically disappears with the waves of saying, tell me, hero. What do you want to do to me? And she disappears, does just like sneaks up on Deku. And Deku's like, I always wanted to be strong like All Might, so I get how you feel. How trying to be someone else can feel fulfilling, but I can't imagine wanting to share the same heart and mind as him. And I would never want to hurt someone I love. And that's when Toga's like, but that's what I like. But that's my thing.
I mean, her, of course, she draws it in a way where she's like, oh, how disappointing. And it's like, yeah, I bet it is, shorty. I bet it is every single time because you're the only one.
Yeah.
Yeah. It must be disappointing all the time.
100%.
All day, every day.
Yeah. 10 out of 10 times.
Fucking psycho.
Yeah. So, Toga gets disappointed and she's like, you're just like Ochako and just like my mom and dad. You think that heroes are and those they protect are the only ones who count as real people. And she goes, I guess, for the kill against Midoriya. But that's when Uraraka pulls up and tackles her and is like, ever since we've met, the day we met, I've been thinking hard about you. And Toga's over her. She's just like, oh, you haven't been on my mind. Not anymore. She's like,
yeah, way over you.
Yeah, she said, the world rejected me, so I reject the world. And she actually gets a little stab in on Uraraka until fucking Froppy comes in with a drop kick, all business, not even fucking around. She basically is just like, what the fuck is going on here? This is like a whole battlefield. What are you talking about right now? And she tells Deku to fuck off, basically, because he's needed elsewhere.
Planning about romance here is the last thing you need to be doing, right?
Yeah. Deku leaves. And Himiko, in a cool panel, I guess, like, gets ready for battle. So, you know, Deku runs with super speed, which I didn't know he has. Is this like a strength thing where he could run on water at this point? Is he going to run on water?
Fujin? Or maybe he's just fast now with his...
It could be Fujin. It could be.
Yeah, it's probably Fujin. Fujin is a kinetic accelerant, so he could basically apply that to any movement.
If it was up to me, like my opinion, I definitely think that he's just that strong and fast now, and it happened off screen, the development.
No, it's not. He's literally using the quirk.
I bet All Might could run on water.
Yeah, because he's All Might. There's a difference.
Izuku Midoriya is All Might now, but more
than him.
More,
yeah,
with an A, not a
more.
Yes, Mr. Krabs more.
Yeah, the more.
You cannot change my opinion on this, Brian. Don't try it.
Yeah. Anyway, that's where the chapter ends, actually, at page 14. So with that being said, Josh, what did you think about this chapter?
Is there such thing as a battle transition chapter?
Yeah, actually.
Like a transition chapter it's like a fight, but it's really not a fight, and it's just a transition chapter.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel. Like I thought the action was really cool and it was drawn well. Toga looking like a ninja pulling up.
Mm-hmm.
My emotional strings wasn't tugged in this one, and you know, I really do understand that, you know, people with mental issues, you know, need help and therapy, and, you know, people with patience and care, they don't need to get locked up. You know, I can't bring up the number right this second, but I think it was only a few years ago, like maybe like 10 years ago, like I believe around 20%, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, definitely no more than 40% of like the inmates were mentally ill. That's a big issue. Definitely here in Rikers, you know, and up in Attica, and in Chicago prisons as well. Not to make it about that, guys, sorry, but I'm saying all that to say that I feel like I have a deep understanding and have a lot of empathy towards like this issue in real life. Like these people, you know, these people are criminals. But I don't know, with Toga, I just don't feel.
Yeah.
I don't feel too strongly about it. That's all I could really say. I'm more. I just want to see them fight. I'm looking forward to next chapter. I really want to see Froppy and Uravity tag team beat the shit out of Toga. You know what I'm saying? Not like just wash her real quick.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind getting a nice little fight and having them go all out. It makes sense for Toga to be strong enough, you know, Black Widow style, to take, you know, two heroes like Uravity and Froppy anyway. So it's, and I don't even mean that with sarcasm. Straight up, like, she's strong. So it being a 2-on-1 makes sense. So I want to see that fight.
Well, Gang Orca's there too, so I think it's more than just a 2-on-1.
Yeah, but he's handling like the grunts.
Oh, after your rebuttals.
Oh no. Yeah, those were just grunt. Like Orca's taking on the grunts, like the Nomu. Probably he's gonna be very
preoccupied.
Hopefully,
a Nomu doesn't pull up and interfere in this fight.
There is a Nomu there.
What I'm saying is, I'm perfectly fine with this being 2-on-1.
No, there's a Nomu there. There's like one of the high ends.
But I mean, maybe their fight could just be separate.
Yeah.
Isn't Mud Guy there as well?
I don't know.
From 1B.
Maybe.
Who's that?
The Mud Man.
The Mud Guy.
Cementos?
From 1B.
No, not Cementos. The Mud Dude.
Oh,
the guy that fought.
Maybe he's there. That'd be cool.
The guy who dunked Ida into the ground like a chocolate chip cookie.
Yikes. I bet you he does something flashy and cool for like 2 or 3 panels.
I'd be here for that.
I'd be lit.
It would be.
I'll take that.
But Brian, what did you think?
Better than being a battery.
Oh. Wait, what? Better than being a battery. Brian, what did you think about this chapter?
I don't have much to say about this chapter, honestly.
Whoa.
It's a gear up chapter. They're saying, I feel like this is a good way, like having Deku out of a fight for a bit gives the other characters a lot more growth opportunity in these fights, you know? Mm-hmm. So I was not disappointed that Deku left, because it makes sense that he would have to leave.
Yeah.
So I think it's cool that, you know, they kind of set up Uraraka and Froppy to have a moment later on. If they continue, I feel like right now he's literally just gonna set up every fight and then probably handle them all simultaneously. Because I feel like that's what he was doing with the last raid stuff, right? Like with the raid, it was mostly like he was kind of bouncing about all the other altercations that were happening.
Yeah.
Like one in the hospital, one somewhere else. So I don't know. I feel like he's setting up, he's putting all of his pieces down to get ready to get into the real meat of things, which I'm excited for. But aside from that, this chapter was just it was a decent setup chapter.
Yeah. I like this chapter fine. I'm going to be honest. I feel like I agree with Josh. And I'm going to be honest here. I just like don't really connect with Toga really as a character, and I've tried. You know, I know what she represents, and I know like her significance to the story. And it's interesting when you look at all the League of Villains, like the original core members of the League. They're all victims of systemic problems within the My Hero Academia universe. Whether it's like familial abuse with Dabi and even Shigaraki to a degree, where in Dabi's case it's like a higher class family and all that darkness gets like swept under the rug, you know, because Endeavor's number 2 hero. Whether it's like Shigaraki like not being really taken on by the system, like, you know, he's been basically homeless after he like killed his whole family, you know, and like nobody would help him. You know, obviously Spinner is just like a stand-in for, you know, any type of oppression or prejudice in the world, whether it's racism, homophobia, all that stuff. That's like what Spinner is fighting for. And like Toga is, like Josh said, she's like a representation for the criminal, like the criminals with like psychological issues that are mostly like overly penalized as opposed to treated. But when it comes to like Toga, I mean, I just don't connect it. You know, her particular story has never like really like hit the right spot for me. And I'm prepared to eat those words next week if they really get into it 100%. But you know, as it stands right now, Toga is one of the like lesser interesting characters of that villain group. I think she was more interesting actually when Twice was around, because he was kind of similar to her, and he brought out the best in Toga through their relationship and their friendship. So yeah, this chapter was fine. I don't hate Toga by any means. I just like, there's just something missing, and maybe next chapter will be the chapter that does it for me. But as it stands, or you know, next time they focus on this fight. But as it stands, I thought this was fine, but nothing really to write home about. I enjoyed it just fine. As for Deku leaving, yeah, he has to. And it, you know, the whole point of separating him from Toga was to kind of like establish this, you know, space where they're not immediately getting to the battle with Shigaraki. All manga do this, you know, the delay of the hero, you know, so all these other characters can have their shine and have a defining moment within the story. So, you know, no problems with that. I wish that like, because Deku has somewhat of a a thing with Toga in that way. I wish they had actually explored that a little more while Deku was around, or at least maybe kept him there for one more chapter. But who knows? In a utilitarian sense, they did have to get him out of there eventually. But yeah, fine chapter. Nothing really crazy for me. Any rebuttals before we move on?
Brian?
No, not really. I don't have much to say about this chapter. I don't even really want to defend it either. It's not really that great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't particularly love this one, but I do have a few extra thoughts, right? As far as how I would have liked to see things go, right? Like, hear me out. Toga to me seems like someone that's very on top of like their mental state, which makes which I don't know, it kind of makes it seem less potent, her illness.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? She's someone that's completely in control of herself, and even has like a high self-esteem about it, which I don't think that's inherently wrong, right? But as far as effectively getting a message across, man, how nice would it have been to get an arc about Toga and maybe her getting captured and jailed. Mm-hmm. Rather, either maybe as a flashback as a teenager, something small like that, or something large where they, ended up catching her out there because they, whatever. I'm not gonna make up the story or nothing like that, but I feel like I say the same thing constantly. Just a little bit more time with some of these characters could have really went a long way. Mm-hmm. An epic fight before, so that when it comes to this big war scene, it doesn't matter if there's a few flashy panels because they don't already had their piece. Mm-hmm. I just feel sad because it's like missed opportunity, in my opinion. That's what I'm left. When I look at some of these chapters, I think that's why I feel so flat sometimes and I react a certain way.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel that. I definitely
there's nothing he could have did in this one chapter that would have reversed how I felt about that. So it's just I'm not really optimistic that that we're gonna get that at the end of this fight. You know what I'm saying? So, I hope for things. I just hope it ends up being a really cool fight and a really interesting one. Instead of just kind of looking at it like, oh, I hope her character arc is redeemed or something. Or all right, those are the last of my thoughts.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It is a little more focus could have been really good for a lot of characters, honestly, but. We've been drip fed information about her past. We know what she did to really gain notoriety in her past. It's just it's very weird. And I guess the means of her, quote unquote insanity, is also not very compelling as well. The whole becoming people because you love them the way Deku broke it down is understandable, but yeah, I mean, I wish there was a deeper examination
she's fucking
to that.
Crazy, bro. That's
sure.
Not the politically correct way to put it. I understand that sounds ignorant, but I don't think it's really our role in these situations to understand these people because their brain functions differently fundamentally, right? There's no way we could really understand that, and I get it. I that's effectively being made clear with Toga. It's just not potent. Not as emotionally potent as it could have been. And it's damn, this is a pretty serious issue, bro, that you just kind of talked about.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? We could be speaking too soon here. But I do agree.